Shadow of the Eagle, the Battle of Medellin, 1809. All sorts of random commentary. I was thinking recently, there's so much great gaming experience to be had, but here I find myself wanting to continue on with this peculiar little game. The Spanish shock phase, boy, all sorts of unexpected things happened. What do I mean? Here, the French disorganized cavalry is still standing here, not even pushed back. They are at half strength now. I'll check on one thing. Yeah. Reorganization. They're still sitting there. Okay. Here, the infantry. Oh, actually, I'll come back to that one. Basically, along the line, here and here, and here and here, and here and here. No, yeah, here and here. Basically, the French cavalry retreated before combat. What do they call it? They refused shock combat. Again, I don't see why the Spanish or French cavalry would not trade space for time. And over here, wow, this French infantry in guerrilla formation here routed these two Spanish cavalry, but just reiterates here. Obviously, I want to try the charge mechanic, but again, the Spanish cavalry in general probably should not be charging. Okay. Yeah, back here. When the infantry here, the Spanish infantry, attacked the French artillery there, I'm pretty sure I completely missed this rule. Artillery units may not shock combat. That's to be expected, but they also they defend with 1/3 their normal strength against shock attacks. So instead of defending at a strength of 6, they would defend at a strength of 2. I think I missed that. So that makes me think there are quite a number of rules that are, I mean, I can't even say they're hidden in the rules because they aren't necessarily hidden. They're just throughout the rule book. And that made me think of something else, and then I'll get back to this thing about, this cavalry defending at 1/3 their strength in shock combat in the rules. Today, would this not be something that would be on the play aid? Because I don't see it on the play aid. But then I think, well, actually, there's probably, I don't know, a dozen different rules stuck here and there throughout the rules that you would expect or certainly like to have on the play aid, I think. And I mean, this game already has a two full page front and back play aid. So I was thinking about how much commentary this game is prompting, how much it is generating. A lot of commentary. Now, it's not because the game is great. The game is certainly okay, maybe a bit better than okay. But then I was thinking of a game I was playing recently that I think is outstanding, one of my favorite. And I was struggling to really have anything commentary-wise to say. So I was thinking that's not a function of how good the game is or how good I think the game is, because I can think a game is great and it just doesn't generate commentary, and then another game is just not great, but it generates a lot of commentary. So I was thinking, what's going on there? I think part of it is what's expected. Part of it is expectation, because I can think of a few games that I think are outstanding games. Let's talk about, and one pops to mind that I'll mention is the Assault series. So I can think of several games right off the top of my head that are very, very, very good, excellent, and yet I don't know that they generate a lot of commentary for me. So, but then I think about those games, and I think that those games, they played out as expected. The rules were expected. The rules were as expected. The outcomes were as expected. A game like this, different things are happening that definitely makes me think. For example, I haven't even mentioned the fact that there is no, that I can see, I mean, there's only cavalry charges. One slender paragraph, basically double strength if successful, must pass morale check first. I mean, that's, and cannot have moved more than 2 hexes in the movement phase. That's it. What is interesting when I thought about it recently is like, wow, there's no countercharge. I don't have to worry about what kind of 8-step, 32, phase countercharge mechanic I have to go through, because there isn't any. And I was actually looking at another Napoleonic game recently, and it's just interesting how on the back of the box it emphasizes that not only does it have charge mechanics, it has countercharge and opportunity charge mechanics. So there's none of that here. But the big difference is very different ground scale. Time scale is different too, but not quite as drastic as the ground scale difference. And this is just different. There's no reaction movement at all. No reaction movement, opportunity movement, defensive movement, whatever you want to call it. There's another great game I was playing recently that definitely has reaction movement, and it's pretty important to that design. But here, there's not that at all. This is actually a fairly static design, which, I don't know, isn't, it's almost built into the design. For example, the Spanish infantry, they only have a movement allowance of 3 anyways, and they have to spend 1 movement point to enter an enemy zone of control. So 1, 2, 3, yeah, so with making enemy contact, Spanish infantry is only advancing 2 hexes at a time anyways, with attack orders. Well, actually, with attack orders. Actually, when you factor in the orders, even when I say that, even that's predicated on the units being in the right order or under the right order. If they're under the wrong order, it's not even that much. The fact that cavalry cannot have moved more than 2 hexes before charging means that you're pretty much never going to get the 6 hex charge across a quarter of the battlefield here sweeping charge. You're just not going to get that. Yeah, you're just not going to get that. And again, maybe it is as simple as battalion unit scale paired with 30-minute time turns, paired with 250-meter hexes. But this is interesting because apparently this is my first play of a game in Shadow of the Eagle series. And let me make sure I know what I'm talking about. Where is it? Yeah, there it is. See, in the rules, in the series rules, it says the maps are usually scaled at 100 meters to the hex. Unit strength, there it is. I knew. I was trying to remember where I saw it. There it is. Unit strengths are 100 men or 1 gun per strength point. Okay. I knew I'd seen that somewhere. And turns are 15 to 30 minutes of real time. So that's the series rules. Now, this Medellin 1809, which is my first experience here, and maybe it is just the uniqueness of this particular title in the series, but I mean, this is at the high end of that range. This is absolutely at the high end of that range. Yeah, because for Medellin, check this one more time. Yeah, 250 meters hexes and 30-minute turns. So I wonder, actually, if other games in the series have 100-meter hexes but 15-minute turns, I'm not sure that much is going to differ. That much. Okay. Again, strangely interesting. Like, I want to see how this really works. That's where I thought about the idea that, hey, there's no countercharging, because I was like, I wanted to see how that worked. It's actually, cavalry is definitely not, as far as I can tell here, it's definitely not overpowering in this game. It's really not. I mean, the Spanish cavalry now understand that it's all light and it's not of good quality, but the Spanish horse have been, dismal in their performance trying to charge, and the French cavalry is definitely a better quality, but has been I don't know if forced is the right word, but has been pushed back. Okay. So, yeah, that's all of the Spanish shock combat. I should have finished it. And again, there were lots of unusual results. But then we go on to the reorganization phase. I'll go through this step by step across the battlefield. I'm doing both. I do think this is a joint phase, so I'm just going to go right across the battlefield here. Now this will be interesting to see if they possibly survive. They have two step losses, you can see, and they are disorganized. So they want to reorganize. Basically, it's you're still using the morale table, but you're looking for a positive result, meaning you're looking for a dash here. So it's kind of you're inverting the table there. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, I deduced that you don't have, I'm thinking of the AIR series with Newport 1600. I deduced here that you're only rolling to recover. You don't have a bad result if you you can't go down in this phase. Now I'm just deducing that by triangulating rules. But this is going to be really bad. It's -1 because you're in an enemy Zoc, -1 for an enemy Zoc, -1 per step loss, or strength loss. I don't like step concept. So it's -3. Yeah, it's -3. So 4 -3 is definitely not recovery. I'm trying to think. Could he? So he's morale C. See, this is going to create situations where 6, 3, 2, 3. Okay, they would have recovered on a roll of 6, but if this were D morale, or C morale, but if they were D morale, then you couldn't get a recovery. That's interesting. You couldn't get a recovery. And this game doesn't appear to have any type of default outcomes, like a natural 6 is automatically this, and a natural 1 is this. I haven't seen any of those. So if this unit, for example, were a D morale unit, 1, 2, 3, then it could not recover by rolling on the morale table. So what does that mean? That means, well, I guess nothing is forced, but I guess the player should move away. Because one thing I didn't realize is that, you see, I wonder if you can move, maybe that is a gray area. He has defend orders. Maybe there should be an exception to the movement rules under the defend order. Okay, interesting. Who's next? Let's see. Well, I guess the routed unit here. Flip it over. It's a D morale. -1 for being routed. I think that's the only one that applies. Yep, that's the only one that applies. So -1, and it's a D morale. So it rolls a 3. -1 is 2. Yeah, he did not recover. Oh, that's interesting. Routed. I'm going to read. So, when routed, units must move 2 hexes immediately away from combat. He already did that. During regular phases, oh, this is what I'm forgetting. I'm definitely forgetting this, and it's not helping that, maybe I should grab some routed counters from another game. As I'm forgetting, during during regular phases, they must move their full movement allowance towards their base hex, which is given. That's the town, Don Benito, which is just off. That's where these two roads head into Don Benito in the corner of the map here. That's given in the game rules as the base. Base hex. They may not enter enemy Zoc. That's understandable. They must retreat if they find themselves in one and suffer any adverse combat result as above. If attacked in shock, okay. Yeah, so they should have been moving towards their base. I guess where they sit. I was not. You know what? I'm going to move them now. I guess these ones were routed this turn, but I'm pretty sure he was routed last turn. Well, I guess I don't have to go off camera, do I? So they go move their full movement allowance. Movement allowance for Spanish cavalry is 6, I guess. Should be 6. Okay, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Yeah, they head towards their base. I should have done that during the movement phase. Here, they are D morale, but not routed. They're just disorganized. There we go. We finally have one. So he rolls a 5 on the D column for his morale level. That's the morale level there. A 4, 5, or 6 would have resulted in the here. So D morale 4, 5, or 6 would result in a dash, which for reorganizing means they recover 1 morale level. So disorganize goes to good order. So he basically takes the D marker off, and he's back to normal order. It's the exact same thing over here. He's E morale though. It's even worse. So he needs really a 5 or a 6. Oh, huh, you got a 6. So, and all sorts of. When I play war games, nothing sits in the middle range of anything. So, now that is one thing. There's another thing that I thought. Most of my questions about this game are only, well, how come this isn't this way, or other games I've played are this. Why isn't it this way? I don't see anything about there being any delay. So these guys were routed this turn. Again, I don't see anything that prohibits them from trying to reorganize this same turn. So I see an E and a D morale. Boy, that really makes all the difference. Ooh, a 1. So the first guy over here does not reorganize. Oh, another 1. So they stay routed. Okay. Hope I got that right.